We are we are recording, guys. So hey, real quick, if you can, go ahead and throw yours on mute, and I'll bring you guys on, kind of call you out or call you up once I'm here to come on. But if you're on here, make sure you're muting. Let me see if I can go ahead and mute everybody. Meeting setting, mute upon entry. Hey, Lo, is that I'm not sure if that's D'Lo or if that's D'Angelo, but go ahead and mute yours. I think you have a lot of background. There we go. All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and get rolling on today. I'm excited to bring this back to you. Like I said, we were kind of out last week with doing the golf tournament up there at Top Golf. Uh-oh, Brett, look at you with the buddy background. But we were out because of Top Golf. Obviously had a blast there, made a little bit of money there. Felt like we should have got first place, but we got second place, but I'll take it. They cheated. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, felt like it was a good time. Got to see some of the carriers. A lot of the carriers were there. Got to create some of those relationships. Guys, one thing I've learned about in the insurance industry is like the relationships that you create, the knowledge that you gain from the people that are come before you is the only thing that's going to be able to propel you forward. Everyone's always obsessed with kind of like being like, I'm working hard. Well, great. You need them on your side so you know who to call when you need something done, or you got some favors to be able to get pulled when you got stuff going on. So like I said, guys, if you can, don't miss those in the future. Try to be at those. Today, what we're going to be talking about in the insurance industry is placement persistency and knowing when to write what carriers. And I want to keep this stupid simple for everybody because I get contract requests from people every single day for contracts that they're never going to write, never going to use, don't need. All they're going to do is confuse their agents by adding them. And it's like, to truly do what we do, you only need about 4 carriers, maybe 5 if you're trying to like get into the annuity world and get into like the IUL world. But other than that, you really don't need all these crazy amounts of contracts. And by doing that, you're really just setting yourself up for more websites to learn and to teach people how to use, more e-applications to learn and teach people how to use, more chance of debt and becoming in vector or roll-ups because they're not going to place but about 5 to 10% of their business with that carrier, and you're creating a bad kind of like liability for yourself. I didn't used to believe this. I used to preach, have all the carriers, plug the business. No, your 90% of your business needs to be with 2 carriers. And so I'm really going to hound that today on when to write what. But the first thing we're going to go over is placement. So with placement, does everyone know what placement is? Let's ask a new agent. Hey, Trey, unmute real quick. Let's see what we know here. What is placement? Explain to me your understanding of placement.
I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm not 100% sure the insurance definition of it. I mean, I'm not even going to lie about it.
There you go. And I love that. That's actually why I called on you. Not to call you out or anything, but the reason why I asked that is like, here's somebody that has found amazing success in this industry very quickly. And it's crazy to me how much people don't understand or don't know when they're getting going and still able to have crazy success. Like, Trey, tell me, what did you write this week? And I don't even know the answer, so I don't know what it's going to be, but what did you write this week?
God, I don't know. I wrote 2,800 on 4 apps yesterday. I want to say I was around like maybe the 1,500 or 1,600 mark on Wednesday. And then
so
a little
roughly
bit on
about
Monday.
4,000, 5,000.
Probably somewhere around the 5,500 mark this week.
Okay. So that's somebody, guys, that like, Trey, what insurance knowledge did you know before a month ago?
None.
None. So, and that's what I'm telling you guys, like, I'm teaching you guys these things, but I don't want to create you to be paralysis by analysis people. I want you to be someone that takes what I'm about to go over, uses it, but continues to do what you're doing because it's working. You're making money, you're writing applications, you're creating lifetime relationships in those houses and friendships. So that's the reason why I brought Trey on. I could have brought Brett on and he probably would have said something similar to the same thing. But what placement is the client making their first premium payment, right? And so that's literally what placement means. It's you have a placement ratio. If I write 10 applications and 8 of them make their first premium payment, that means that I have a placement of 80%. And so these numbers are important, guys. The next one that I'm going to go over is persistency, and I'm going to explain to you why these two numbers are so important, because this is the numbers that the insurance companies use to judge whether they want to keep you as an agent or not. And so when you're new and you don't even know what placement is or persistency is, you don't even know how important it really is. But that insurance company isn't profitable unless your placement and persistencies are at certain levels. And so they look at you as somebody that they can't wait to delete your contract if you're not hitting that, because you're losing them money. And if you lose insurance companies money, they're not going to keep a contract with you. So you could be writing business. You could even not even have debt with the carrier and they'll still terminate you. I had that happen to somebody this week. He doesn't even have debt with the carrier, but his placement and persistency were so low that they terminated his contract. And now he's one less contract to write. Now he has a liability of future debt that's created with that carrier that he's probably going to have to pay back. And so that's why I'm teaching you guys these things, is I want you guys to be ahead of your problems, not reactionary, but proactive in solving them before they happen. So placement, first premium payment is made. That is your placement. All right, persistency. Persistency is judged in a few different ways. There's a 3-month, 6-month, 9-month, and then career persistency. That is the second premium payment that they're making and on, right? So like the persistency of your business that is staying paying and staying on the books is the next way that they judge you. And so with that, they're hopefully, again, say you've got 10 policies that you wrote this week. We get to next month, 8 of them made their first premium payment. Okay. We get 6 months down the road, 6 of them are still paying. That means that your placement is 80%. Your persistency is 60%, right? So that's getting to being dangerous. And people don't realize that. And sometimes we get so caught up with writing the next application, we don't realize how much we're hurting ourselves in the future when it comes to persistency. Because I've been in the meetings, guys, with the Fortune 500 people that are sitting there on their board, highlighting people's names, saying this person is below our persistency number. If they don't get it up, we're going to terminate them. And most of the time, the agent never even knows that even happened. You know what I mean? But they're looking at it. I promise you. If you ever get on the website and look at your placement persistency numbers, most of the time, your first 3 months, they're not going to be very accurate because you don't have enough time in the business. But once you're about 6 months in, I can pretty much tell you what somebody's placement persistency is and what quality of agent and business they're running. The next one is like pretty much like denials, right? So like they look at how many apps you're writing or throwing at that carrier to how many aren't even being approved, right? And because they want to know that you're doing your job in the house of asking some underwriting questions. Now, I know a lot of times in insurance, it's throw it at the wall and let's see what sticks. Well, you can do it that way until you can't anymore because you lose your contracts. So like you need to start asking those health questions and finding out what major issues that person has. So that way you can know, okay, hey, this is a good company for me, or this person's a good prospect for Mutual of Omaha. This person's a great prospect for CFG, whatnot. One of the beauties of working with a company like CFG is we have a POS, point of sale decision. We're going to find out whether they can get approved before we even throw the application in there. So guess what? That's not hurting your placement, guys, which is amazing. Because how many times out there do you throw stuff at the wall and your numbers look awful, but you don't have any debt with the carrier? Well, the carrier still looks at it as it costs us money to see if we can approve that person. They had to pay MIB, script checks, all this stuff, and to be able to find out whether they could even offer somebody insurance. Well, if you're tossing 10 of those them a week and they're only approving 5, they're not going to like that number. They need you to be actually placing the business that you're trying to write with them. So watch out on that, guys. And that's why, and I already said it, why companies will cancel your contract just based off of that. You don't even have to have debt with them. Like, I literally had that happen this week. I had an agent, had no debt with the carrier, but because of the quality of business, they terminated him. And there was nothing I could do about it. And it's like, guys, I want y'all to know, like, I'm here to fight for you. I'm here to ask for favors, but I'm not the insurance company. I just communicate to them, and I communicate to you what they tell me. And most of the time, if you're coming to me asking for a favor and it's to somebody here in the office, I can probably get it done. I might have to pull some strings or ask for some favors or have somebody look at me wrong, but I can get it done. When it comes to insurance companies, I'm talking to somebody that's not in charge most of the time. I'm just talking to the person that's like, no, these are our rules. This is how we operate. Sorry, your contract's terminated, or sorry, this is the outcome. And I'm not trying to create so much fear that you guys are afraid out there trying to write business, but I'm trying to create a real enough version of this to where you actually do some things differently, have some better focuses in there, so that this doesn't happen to you. Because I don't want that to happen to y'all. I don't want that to happen to anybody. So real quick, keeping it simple. I think that's important. I think that's important to improving your placement persistency. One thing that I know, and Buddy can speak to this, I think Nathan was even there, is we did this meeting where it was like a manager's meeting, and we got to see what the nationwide placement persistency was with each carrier. And guys, there's a reason for that. It's how they do business. If a carrier has a POS decision that's going to let you know whether they can get approved or not before you submit the app, then your placement's going to look a lot better, right? And not only is it going to look a lot better, you're going to know where to take that business. So that's why I prefer that CFG be pretty much as most people, except for Mississippi. Sorry, Nathan and Mississippi guys, but I like that to be your primary for the most part, because it's going to tell you, one, where to place the business if they won't take it, or it's going to give you a decision before you even try to, like I keep saying, put in an application. And so I'm going to go over with you guys kind of what I sent out in the group me this week. And then I'm going to go over with you why I think this is the way we need to do it, when it comes to what carriers to write when. So, and then before we do that, I'm going to explain to you really quick why. If we've got, and I'm looking at this right now, Vance, new, Trey, new, Brett, new, Latoya, new, Jacob, new, Trey, somewhat new, not really new, DJ, new, I can't read that, but Mr. Cruz, new, Keyshawn, relatively new. It's like we have a lot of seasoned agents here, guys, that have been with us for a long time, that know this stuff backwards and forwards, that can go in houses and get stuff done, right? But look how many new people we have. And one thing that I would say is keep it stupid simple. Like, if we want them to be successful and we want them to be depositing money and not just now, but 3 months from now, 6 months from now, we need to keep it stupid simple and not get them distracted with a million different contracts or different companies, or not knowing where to place the business. And that's one thing I've really focused with Lane on, is just like, hey, like, once this carrier is a no, this is where you go from there. And then after that, this is where you would go from there. This is your stage of transactions. So that way, when he's in the house, he's calling me still, but he already kind of should start to be learning where he needs to go next. And once he learns that, there's no unlearning that. And then he's dangerous, because he can sell, he can go in there and create a friend. He just doesn't always know what to do once he does that. And that's everybody in this group. And sometimes you'll lose sales because of that. So in my opinion, this is me, I think some of the best business out there is replacement business, because the person's used to paying. So I love Mutual of Omaha, guys. If somebody's under 50, then Mutual of Omaha is amazing for that 30-year return of premium product. It gives them more coverage of term, and it gives them a paid up amount of coverage after the fact, and they don't have to pay premiums anymore. If you compare that to whole life, that paid up amount at the end of that 30 years is a lot of times larger than what they would have been paying for in her whole life based on the premium they paid. And so do some math with that, mess around on the app with that, and you'll learn like, man, this product pretty much beats whole life for anybody under the age of 50, as long as they're healthy enough, right? It also helps you to when you go into a house and somebody, and I try to be careful on these Zoom calls because I don't want to ever get in trouble for like what's it called, like defaming a company or anything like that. That's by no means what I'm trying to do when I'm using these companies and compare them to others. All I'm trying to do is make it to where you guys know that this is the truth, and you're never going to get in trouble for bettering a client situation. But if somebody's in there on like a graded plan or a modified plan, or even sometimes a guaranteed issue that they took out through the mail, or maybe even a policy they took out a couple months ago that's a level plan, but I can save them $15 to $20 with Mutual of Omaha, I'm gonna do it. Like, guys, like that's better for the client, and it's like they most of the time they're wanting to do it, and so that's not a bad thing. Now, if you're taking them out of a policy that they're not in any type of contestability period and now they're unhealthy, and you're trying to clean sheet them and push them through, then shame on you. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't encourage anybody to do that. But again, I'll say the best quality of business is people that have already been paying for insurance because they're used to paying the premium. And that's the reason why we have the carriers we have, is so that we can beat those and do better with those, right? So my A plus is Mutual of Omaha. Some people don't like writing them as much, but I love them. I think they're great. CFG is right up there with me. They have a POS decision, like I said, guys, where they're amazing. They kill it when it comes to that. And then, like y'all saw in what I put in the group me, then you also need to have a level plan that's a little bit more lenient, like the True Stages or the Royal Neighbors of the world, because those ones, again, you can get people approved with for level that need it and are healthy enough with those two carriers to get it that might not have gotten it with the other carriers, right? And then you need your guaranteed issue. Now, guys, and I want to make sure everyone hears this, because I have these conversations with people all the time, but I don't know how much they take in of this. And you know what? I'm going to call out on somebody to see if they know the answer to this, because I've talked about it this week. Buddy, you out there? Oh yeah. Come on, buddy. What is the worst quality of business in this industry? There's two of them. Which are the worst two?
Guarantee issue and credit card.
So it's at guaranteed issue and the direct express. Yes, it's like the credit card direct express business. And so, guys, let me ask you this. If that is the worst quality of your business and it's only 10% of your business, you're probably not relying on that to pay your bills. So you don't need to get advanced on it. Like, for real, I'm just being real. That's my opinion. You do what you want. If you want to get advanced on it and have some short-term loans, I'm the one who has to deal with the debt emails and deal with people losing carriers all day. I would encourage you to not to, but you can try it. And then you can deal with the emails that I'm going to send you in 6 months. But I would tell you to go with somebody that's paid as earned, like a Gerber, for that type of business. I would even change a GWIC contract to that. And I wouldn't even like scoff at it, because, guys, it's 10% of your business. And if it's more than 10% of your business, then we need to talk, because chances are you're probably only getting laydowns of people that are so sick that they're just looking for insurance because they're so sick, right? And that's an issue too. That means that, and that's probably speaking to some of you guys, especially newer people, is you need to be getting the healthy people. Those are your good insurance people. The non-healthy people, yet we want to help them. I'm just telling you, don't take out a short-term loan to do so. If you want one of those, go take out a credit card. You'll have less stress probably than that. All right, so that's as simple as it is, guys. Keep it that simple. It doesn't need to get more difficult than that. What that does is that helps you qualify for trips better, helps you not have to train agents as many carriers, because that, what I just labeled out, will service everybody. There's nobody you can't service with what I just said. There's no policy that you can't beat out there with what I just showed you. That Gerber as earned policy is cheaper than level smoking rates. Like, come on now. Like, We act like we care about the client, like do what's best for the client. That's best for the client, right? Then another graded or guaranteed issue policy. Does it pay you as much? Probably not, but you're doing what's better for the client. You're keeping your business cleaner. And again, that's 10% of your business. So if you really needed that money that bad to pay your bills, then work a little bit longer and find somebody else that's healthy enough that you can find that you can write insurance on. And sometimes that happens on a Monday. Sometimes, like Brett, don't have until last week on Friday night, late, right? But he still was willing to do the work, and that's why he's on this call. And it's so easy for me to know who's going to make it. It's the people that dial into these types of things, and not only dial in, they participate. And then when they participate, they use it. How many, like the first week we talked about going into houses and using the homework approach that Buddy gave. I've literally had 7 different people this week, last week, all these weeks come and tell me it worked. I had somebody in the group me this week say that whole the bank account information question for a new agent is a tough question to ask. Well, guess what? From these Zoom calls, they learned to just say, hey, that's just the next question on the application. And it worked, right? Like, guys, if you're not using the stuff on these calls and using what we say, then shame on you, because I'm leading a multi-million-dollar business now. And if you guys ever want to get there, you better start learning these things, right? And so what is, I already asked that, what is the worst quality of business? Buddy handled that for us. So we kind of know what that is. I kind of went over with you guys what to write, when to write it, and why I believe you should write that. Buddy, are you out there? Or I know you're out there. Go ahead and hop on real quick.
Yeah, baby.
I want you to share real quick, because I know you come from a different agency and you guys did things a little bit differently. But like, I want you to speak on this, especially because you have led a team similar to the team I've led. So you've dealt with these emails, you've dealt with these roll-ups. Like, I could even, I'm not going to, I can even name some of the people that aren't with you anymore from that other agency that you're still getting roll-ups from, right? And so like, talk about that, man. Like, talk about how much harder that makes the business to operate and how dangerous that can be, because you've lived it.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to one of my new guys just recently about, because especially for new agents, they'll come in and they get it down and they crush it, for a month and a half. And then, they're like, sweet, I got all this money, take their foot off the gas pedal. And when you're new, your first month and a half, you don't even deal with chargebacks because they haven't even hit yet. And in this business, if you've been in it 10 years or 10 months, what you need to strive to get to is a level of consistency across the board. Consistently, your schedule's got to be consistent. I don't want someone like who's putting up Dinquavy numbers one month and then they're taking off the next month. You know what I mean? Or they write 10 grand 2 months and then 2 months they write 2 grand. I would rather have, as a manager, I would rather have an agent just write 3,000 every week, you know what I mean? Or even 3,000 every month if it's consistent, because you're always going to get yourself in trouble when you write at a high level and then you back off. Because guys, think about it. If the normal agent loses, say 20% of their business, right? Some of you guys lose less than that. Some of y'all might lose a lot more than that. But let's say average out 20% business. Well, if you're out writing, 30 grand a month, just the normal fall off, you do everything great. Your normal fall off from that 30% is going to swallow your next month if you only go out and write 5,000. You know what I mean? So get a gear that's as high as you can consistently work at without burning out. You don't want to have burnout. So you need to figure that out for yourself. You know what I mean? Don't crush it when you got bills to pay and then take the foot off the pedal. But it's the same thing for your business. You want to, I see guys when they get in a bind, they start writing a bunch of bad business, right? Because they're, they just need money quick. So the bad business just as much as your schedule. It needs to be, consistent, right? So, and if you stay consistent, you're never going to be in a bind. Because I mean, I'll be honest, our job is commission only, but I've never seen a job that I can count on my income more than what we do. Well, if I put in this activity, it's a guarantee I'm going to get this much deposits. So even though it's commission only, the business guys, it doesn't, you can't cheat it. Okay. And it's not going to cheat you. So I know if I put in 15 presentations, I'm going to write about $10,000 to $15,000. If I do 8 presentations, I'm going to write about, 6,000 to 9,000, however many presentations I do, I'm probably going to have around that number of applications. When you're newer, it's going to be less. So you got to work harder, and get out there more. But whatever part of this business, like you're struggling with, it's probably because you're not putting a consistent effort into it. And when you're new, that goes with a consistent effort on learning the business. The only time you see final expense stuff shouldn't be when you're in front of a person. When you're new, anytime you're not in the field generating the income, you should be like going on these carrier websites, learn the products, learning the underwriting, so that all that's going to do is help you write better business. Okay. If you've been in the business 3 or 4 months and you still don't know, like if you get a congestive heart failure or you get a COPD, you should already know, guys, at that point, which 1 or 2 companies are going to be your best or only options at that point. You shouldn't still be like, well, I'm just going to throw it at CFG. And if that doesn't work, I'll throw it at Royal. And if that doesn't work, I'll throw it at Gerber. Yeah, you can do that. But like Josiah was saying,
Those companies are judging you on that.
Yeah, your placement and your persistency with whoever your favorite company is going to be horrible. And you're going to end up losing the one company that you like to write. Then you're going to be stuck with, your Transamerica, and Great Western, and, your life's going to be miserable at that point. So,
one other thing I want to add to what Buddy was just saying is like, and because I see it, guys, like good luck trying to hide it from me. I'm not aware of everything, but I'm aware of most things that I focus on. So, and one thing that I always notice is you'll take a new agent in their first 2 or 3 months, they're riding with one carrier predominantly, and then all of a sudden they start getting maybe $2,000-3,000 worth of chargebacks, and they need to make money that week because of what they've already spent that money on that they made. And now all of a sudden it's not that they don't want to keep writing that carrier, but they're writing somebody else. Guys, I know we run a brokerage, and I know we have a lot of different carriers, and I know you need to pay your bills. I get that, but learn how to live on 90% of your business going to 1 or 2 carriers, whether there's debt there or not. Like if there's debt there, that means the quality of the business wasn't that great. That means this week might be a 4-day work week, or it might not be. You might go out on a Monday, clear that debt and make some money, and then start making money again. But the last thing that you need to do is the thing that pops in your mind on the easy thing. The easy thing when you got $2,000 of debt with CFG is to go right with another carrier that you're going to get paid with. That's the easiest thing to do, guys. And guess what? That's the worst thing you could possibly do. And the reason for that is it makes it to where you cash flowed what you needed to cash flow. Now that debt's still sitting there. Now you avoided it. Now you might be having debt with another carrier. And maybe you did cover, maybe you did make the money you made. Here, Delay, make sure that's muted because I can hear you. Maybe you did make the money you needed to make. And then you did go write the CFG to cover the debt. But guess what? Now you go into the next month. What if you get a charge back with that second carrier you ran to, and then you don't ever write with that company again, and that debt just sits there long enough for you to lose the contract? Well, now you're dealing with a vector hit. Now you got to set up a payment plan. It's like, guys, I'm painting this picture not to scare you or not to make you afraid to write business. I'm trying to paint a realistic picture. And so
Josiah,
that's why
can I
Yeah,
touch
go,
base on that real quick,
go
man?
ahead, Trey.
So, Buddy was saying, a lot of new agents don't deal with chargebacks. I've been in almost 2 months now, and I woke up to this week and I know it's not a lot compared to others, but I was negative 207 with CFG and negative 340 with Royal. And this week, I mean, those are my main two carriers. And I basically went out, and my 4 applications that were Wednesday were all Royal. And it just happened to work out that way between diabetics and just certain prescriptions and stuff. All my applications from yesterday, except for one, were all CFG. So I was still able to stick with my same carriers, get out of debt, and still see a paycheck. So, I mean, I didn't try running. The last
That's
application
right.
last night was GWIC because she was COPD and oxygen and a bunch of other stuff. But, I had no option there. But I did get out of my hole and saw in the positives from just sticking with my 2 companies.
And when you do that, Trey, you're going to make it. The people that run to the easy solution for a quick payday are the ones that will do it every single time. And you don't even know all the other things that they're doing in life to sacrifice on, because it's hard work is not always easy, right? And so it's like, I would encourage you to keep that mindset, Trey, because you're right. That's just a little bit of chargebacks. Wait till you wake up and you're negative $2,000 with a company. And that's going to be a whole different mindset. And guys, I say that to say, you could have to deal with these problems of cash flow with carriers and stuff like that. Well, guess what? If I were to bring Denquavy on, if I told you what he deposited last year and how much he writes, he probably has to overcome a $2,000 amount of debt at least a couple times a month. You know what I mean? And that's normal. And he's used to it. And he's got back ends to cover. He's got renewals to cover it now. But like, guys, that's a normal part of this business. The people that run to other carriers to make the paycheck are the ones that don't end up making it long term. And because you can see it, it's easy to see. It's like, if you write with one carrier for 6 months and then another carrier for 6 months and then another carrier for 6 months, and you just keep doing that, we know what's happening. We know, you know what I mean? And there could be some reasons, like a carrier could change a product or stuff like that, or something that you didn't like and you want to switch. And I get that, like, totally. But like, we've been in this game long enough. We know these carriers by now. We know who owns this and who does this and who will take this and who will take that. And really, man, with 4 carriers, you can about get anything you want done. And to me, again, I'll say those 4 carriers is Mutual of Omaha. And the 4th one could be a 4th or a 5th, but Mutual of Omaha, CFG, RNA, and then a GWIC or Gerber mixture. Now, with Mississippi, they have to substitute CFG for AmAm because in Mississippi, they don't have CFG. But other than that, like, that's the game plan, guys. Like, that's the run rate. And some teams could also use a true stage instead of an RNA because they're very similar too. But whatever one you choose, stick with that one. Don't just do both just to do both. If they solve the same problem, don't do both. Like, what are we doing here? You're just, if anything, you're just debt dodging. You're just dodging debt. And I watch it and I see it. I've even done it myself, guys. And I always talk about things based on having to learn them the hard way. And I say them with such passion because I don't want y'all to have to learn things the hard way. And so somebody else I'm going to bring on real quick because he deals with this, and be transparent with it, Nate. Nathan, come on for me.
Yes, sir.
Nathan,
what about it?
Talk to me about some of the carriers that y'all have lost and some of the lessons you've had to learn the hard way.
Definitely what Josiah is saying is about, concentrating your business is you got to do that because especially with, I tell people, like, when we bring people on, like, you're a part of an insurance group and an insurance family that writes, even our new agents within Senior Select with Revive, everybody's connected to our business. You're going to write more than anybody else in the nation, pretty much. So what I mean by that is that your average is always going to be more than most other people's averages. when you're dealing with insurance in general. So combining, your business into 1 to 2 to 3 carriers is going to be what you're going to have to do, because you're going to significantly outright most of America when it comes to our writing in our field of, final expense and those types of things. Now, annuities, IULs, that's a different whole other part of the business. But yes, we have lost carriers due to the fact that and everybody's done it. I know it's like, you need a paycheck, you're under the gun. That if you write this out here, that you're going to get paid, versus if you keep it with the carrier that you're negative with, you're not going to see any money. And we've all done that. And so, yes, by doing that, we've lost a couple carriers due to that. That you can lose carriers for different reasons, but significantly, you've got to plan not to have that happen. Like Josiah was saying, it's better to plan ahead instead of react to those things, because now we have to be in the waiting game and those types of things. When you lose those carriers, I would say they're not lost forever. You can recontract later, but you have to pay off your debt and do those types of things. But that is detrimental, especially to managers and things like that. When you're looking at growing your business from a manager standpoint, from an agency owner standpoint, you need to have access to those carriers as growing your agency. So losing those carriers, and it may not even be something that the agency owner is doing or the manager's doing. It's a downline that has wrote a bunch of bad business simply because they needed a paycheck and those types of things. So yes, losing carriers is not good. I don't think it's the end of the world, but it is not good, when it comes to a career in insurance. So, one of the carriers that we lost was RNA. I had 2 or 3 guys that had them for a while, and then slowly but surely, you've seen it kind of phase out. I still hold a contract with RNA for my agency, but that's simply just because I have downlines that have a contract, so they're not going to terminate the agency as long as you have a downline that. But eventually, if one of those agents or a couple of those agents do lose their contract, I would assume that RNA will be looking to terminate the agency, because it's business, and you have to understand it like that. You can't say, well, or bash RNA. It's the way they do business. And so I've started to tell my guys and the people that we bring on, it's like, look, they have a business, you have a business. They run their business like this. So they're not going to bend their rules just because, some Joe Blow down here in Mississippi thinks they should. You
Right.
can't make carriers do what you want them to do. You have to operate within the means that they give you, the leeway that they give you. And if you can't do that, then these are the consequences. So there's no amount of, crying to daddy that's going to get it to change. So it's better to know that going forward and going into your career than it is to have to react to that. And, whatever it is, those are things that I've learned in the years in my business and those types of things. So I am moving forward, learning and teaching my guys going forward, and the new people that we're going to bring in, like, hey, this is part of the business. This is something that we're going to tackle up front, not have to react to later down the road. So yes, losing carriers is a big deal,
Right. And so, guys, to add to what he said, and he said something powerful. He's lost carriers before, not because of what he's physically done himself, but what a downline has done and debt that they've created that has then rolled to him. And so that's one of the reasons, y'all, why and now don't get me wrong, I get in the car with everybody for the most part, because I do try to help with training, and I do try to help with getting them some money in their pocket and stuff like that. I might get in the car with you, and I'm sorry if you're out there and I rode with you and I didn't help you write any business. I didn't make you no money, but I am trying my best. I promise you that. And so when we do make some, though, and I'm riding with that person, it's funny because I'm looking at Marcy, and I rode with her on Wednesday, and it's like I'm trying to more assess that person so that way I can go back to the manager and tell them what type of liability they're living with. And that's just the truth, guys. Like, obviously I'm there to write business, train you, let you watch me do some training, let you watch me write some business, let you see what carrier I go to when they say this, or however come objections, like all that's great. But you're going to get that from your manager. You're going to get that from these calls. You're going to get that in the group me. You're going to get that on all our trainings. You're going to get that stuff. Like what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to assess how much, again, I'll say it, of a liability is this person to my manager or to me directly. Because if I'm getting in the car with the person and all of their verbiage is it's everyone else's fault, or I'll do this because I need to get paid, or it's like people will tell you what they're going to do even before they go do it, just based off of how they talk about the rest of their life. And that's why I love riding with folks, because I can give an honest opinion, and it is an opinion because it's my opinion, it's not fact, but I'm going to give my opinion to that manager on who I think they've got in the business with them. Because guys, once you've eaten a 20 grand, 30 grand debt from somebody, you might start actually looking at who you hire. I promise you that. Like once you've eaten a debt like that, you're going to start getting a little bit more strict about who you hire and making sure they don't just fog a mirror. And that's why you hire them. You know what I mean? And that goes into that. So that's huge, guys. Real quick, we got delay out there. Dan Quavy, go ahead and hop on for me real quick.
What's up, bro?
Hey,
Yo.
what's up, man? Hey, I kind of gave my spiel on who I write, when I write him, and why. Give yours, man, because I know you have a strong opinion on this, and your opinion's a good one. And so tell me, what is, like, if you were going into a situation and you're training a new agent, who's their primary carrier, who's their secondary, and then who's their guaranteed issue, and then tell me why.
I typically try to lead with CFG because of the POS. It just makes it, this makes it simple, makes it easy. You don't got to worry about underwriting as much. So I kind of lead with CFG. And then if the person's under 51 or super duper healthy and I need like a price point that I need to try to beat, I go with Mutual of Omaha. And my guaranteed issue, I go Great Western. Just simple. It ain't complicated.
It's simple.
Shit, like you said earlier, just keep it stupid simple.
Just stupid simple, man. And like Denquavy's grown like crazy here recently, and he's got people coming in. Same with Buddy, where it's like they got people coming in here and putting up numbers, man. Like numbers, like 5 year in the business type numbers, right?
Right.
Like when people's writing 500 a week, like that's not normal for new agents. Like if you go to other agencies, I literally had to reschedule this to make this later because I was interviewing somebody from a different agency and all they deal with is turnover. She couldn't even tell me how many people she had hired this year. And it's like, because she had lost so many of them that it's like, it's churn in, churn out, churn in, churn out. And guys, everything that we're telling y'all right now is for a reason. That's like, this is what keeps it stupid simple, keeps you making money, and actually keeps you in the insurance industry. Go ahead, dude. What were you about to say?
I mean, it is a hard business, but it's a fair and honest business, and it's just like everything in life. You can't cheat it. So the amount of work that you put in is gonna show, basically. Like, you want to make money, just go to work. Get you 40 leads a week. Go knock on the doors. I don't like to deal with excuses from anybody because I've been in everybody's shoes. Like, I understand coming in, I don't have money. Okay, I started the business with $200 in my bank account. So when people come to me with excuses, I really don't. I listen to it and I understand, I get it. But then I say, okay, so what are you going to do to overcome that obstacle? And then they give me another excuse. And I'm like, okay, so this person's just going to be full of excuses. But if you just go out there and literally work, the hardest part, I tell everybody, is getting in your car on Monday and just going. But if you go and you knock on doors, you're going to make money. It's simple.
So simple.
And if you want to make more money, you go knock on more doors. It ain't even hard.
Like, guys, I can't tell you how many times, and it's like, guys, again, I don't hold this against people. I'm just telling you how it is. I'm real, and I try to be real. If you ever catch me not being real, you let me know. But like, I'll get in the car with somebody, and while I'm training them, they're giving me this hype train, man. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to work this hard. I'm going to work that hard. And it's like, guys, I don't think y'all realize this. Like, yeah, sometimes I'll talk to folks or whatever, and maybe y'all don't know what I do every day. But sometimes the reason why I'm talking to you so fast to get off the phone is because I'm 5 calls behind. You know what I mean? Or 5, especially on Thursdays and Fridays, guys, because Monday and Wednesday I'm out training. Thursdays and Fridays, I'm either meeting with a lead vendor, meeting with a carrier, meeting with somebody that's coming in to get hired, trying to clean up the apps for somebody that's new that week, or trying to finish up lead orders that didn't get in on time, or this or that, or this or that. And I sit there and I'm like, man, you don't even know what it takes. Like the people that hop in the car with me and say, I'm going to grind like this, I'm going to do that. And then 3 weeks in, I see them leaving at 4 o'clock on a Wednesday. Or 2 weeks in, I see them not showing up on a Monday till this time. And so many times in this business, and Dan Quavy can speak to this, it's funny because people will look at you as if you're not doing it right now, then I'm not. Because if your manager's not doing it, I'm not going to be there. I'm like, bro, I got money in my bank. I've made millions of dollars in insurance.
That'd be like me looking at Frank and being like, "Oh, Frank's not in the field, so I'm not going to go in the field today."
Right,
That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with you. That has nothing to do with the agent. Like, people have to understand, like, if I leave early on a Wednesday, it's because I can. Like, I don't have to go out on the Thursday and Friday anymore. But I used to, though. And I used to do it consistently to where I got to a point where I'm like, okay, now I can go 2 days, 3 days. But I worked my way up to that point. You can't just start overnight and be like, oh, I'm going to be there. I'm going to only work 2 days. You're not going to make it in the business.
But the problem
now, you're not seeing what we did 6, 7 years ago.
Yep.
To put work in to be able to go home on a Wednesday now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Guys,
real quick, buddy, before you say that, it's so easy to come up with the reason in your mind on what makes sense, on what you're going to do later, on why you don't have to do it now. Every time you can come up with that. Like, I'm going home because I'm going to do this. And then you don't even end up doing that. It's like you the same excuse that you used on what you said why you weren't going to do something is the same thing that it's like a rinse and repeat. If you want to find true success, is work until the job's done and then go home and don't feel like you got to make up an excuse. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me. Like, my income isn't driven off of that, guys. I got plenty of money in the bank. I got plenty of money coming in. Like, I'm not telling you this because I just need you to make me more money. I'm telling you this so that 2 weeks from now, when you come to me and say you can't pay your mortgage or whatever it is, then I'm able to have this little bullet I can take out of my pocket and be like, boom, boom, gotcha. Remember that excuse you gave me on that Tuesday or that Monday, and that you said you're going to do this and why you weren't doing that. And now I get to pull those bullets out and shoot you with them. And I won't say it at the time. I'll just wait till you come complain. And then the bullets are going to start flying. Go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, guys, like Dan Quavy said, like, it shouldn't, your work or your work ethic or when you're in the field, it shouldn't have anything to do with anyone else, because essentially every one of y'all is starting your own business. So you would never see like Burger King or McDonald's be like, oh, Chick-fil-A is not working Sunday. All right, we're not working Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, you're your own business. So you're the only one that's going to determine if your business makes it or if your business doesn't. So like, my agent should never be like, oh, buddy's out of town, so I'm gonna chill and just spend time with the family. Or, you know, if Josiah's out of town, I can't be like, well, Josiah's not working, I'm not gonna work. That's the stupidest mentality ever. Because guess what? Now, if it was like you get paid a salary, okay, fine. Cut corners, you know what I mean? Milk the clock, however you can get away with it. Guys, this business, there's no cutting corners. And there's no, you literally can't get paid unless you are out there writing apps. So, don't say, well, Dan Quavy works Monday through Wednesday every week. That's what I'm going to do. Well, if you write as much business as him and that's the money you need to make, great. But if you go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you wrote 2 policies, your ass should be out there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I mean, maybe my business just needs to be more successful. I don't know. My wife's expensive, so I got my business costs are very high. So you know, I've been out, I think I've been out later than every one of my agents every single day this week. And that's not saying they were not late. That's just saying every single day this week. The last house I got out of, it was dark outside, when I got out of the house. I already had one house that I went to today and made 2 sales before this Zoom. So, for me, I'm not gonna like have my schedule, my business tied to whatever Josiah is doing. I'm gonna use Josiah like crazy and try to maximize what I can do with what he can do for me. Same way my agent should be looking at me. Like I want to be like a fire ant on Adderall out there just going crazy. And then anything I can get my uplines, my managers to help me with and make me better, I want to use them for that. I don't want to just sit back and like, man, I hope Josiah builds me a team, or I hope Josiah, splits me in on an app. You know what I mean? My mindset is like, I don't care if Josiah retires. I don't care if Frank retires. I'm going to go do what I have to do to ride at a high level and build at a high level. And it has nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? Now, I want them to help me a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't want to rely on that. You know what I mean?
that's right. And one other thing and I know sometimes on these calls, man, I get to listen to folks and you just get all pumped up and you start and then and just drilling folks, right? This is another thing that I see, guys, and we've gotten a little away from the quality of business conversation that this call started as, but I still love the information we're sharing right here, is if you're only on the agent level, like guys, and I'll lead this with, everyone's different. Everyone's capable of different things. If you go and you create the new $1 million idea, then look back at me and just tell me I told you so. And I can't wait for you to do that. Like I really can't. And if you're just that stubborn, because I'm that stubborn, there's not many people that can tell me what I'm going to do or not going to do. I'm going to about try everything in insurance, whether you like it or not. And so there's other humans out there like that. And I'm not knocking you. But if all you are is at the agent level or leading 5 people, don't fill your day up with all the crap that I have to deal with. You shouldn't be looking for lead vendors. You shouldn't be looking for this new CRM. You shouldn't be looking for all these random things that are going to fill up half your day that don't move the needle. Like, don't get production done. You're literally creating yourself a longer, more stressful work week for no reason. And I see it all the time. 1 out of 5 people that come in within 3 months of being in, they're like trying to reinvent the entire business model. And I'm sitting there looking at them just like, man, you're so talented, but you just can't get out of your own way. And it happened when I played sports. It happened when I had classes and I had to do group assignments with people. And now it's happening in business. And guys, it's going to happen because it's human nature. We're humanly made to improve things or to make things better or to strive to improve ourselves or our surroundings. So it's totally normal. It's a normal thing to think. Just don't. just tell yourself, don't. I'm not going to think this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to try this virtual thing. I'm not going to try this new lead. I'm not going to try this. And let me be that. Let me be the guinea pig. I have enough money and I have enough money coming in where I can go waste my week on that. You can't. Just being real with you, you can't right now. So whenever you have that new crazy idea about how you're going to create your own this or your own that, and then you waste 3 months and then you're doing something else, it's like, just don't. Like, we're already doing that. I'm already meeting with people that you guys don't even know I'm meeting with. I'm already doing things that you guys don't know I'm doing constantly. Now we have our website went out where people can actually order materials now. You can order your lanyards, you can order your business cards, you can order shirts, pullovers. It's a million things on there. They got speakers, they got everything you can think of. That's out there now. Like it just keeps coming. We're doing Zooms now. Like we're doing all the things that people have ideas to do. But if you don't have the platform to do it and you're not at that level yet, quit trying to be. Just do what moves the needle, what makes you an income, what makes you consistent and able to even get to this level. Because I promise you guys, when I was an individual agent, or even when I was in business development at Securus or any part of my life, I wasn't in the position financially or even in business to do the stuff that I do now. And when I would try to, I would drive myself crazy and waste all my time. Don't do that. Like, please don't do that. So guys, I didn't really want to keep this call crazy long because some of our first ones we've done have been like hour and a half. Does anybody want to come on and ask any questions? It can be about what we talked about today. It could be about anything. Any new agents want to hop on and ask something, please do so. We love it. We want to help you. We want to share this information because if you're thinking it, somebody else is too. So what kind of questions do y'all got out there? Anybody and everybody? Come on now, don't make me call on you. I'll do it. All right, we're gonna have to call him, folks. Hey, Brett, hop on, buddy. I see you smiling over there with your cool background that Buddy shared with you.
Right? What's up?
Buddy, when did Brett get so cool with his cool background too? All right, so Brett,
He used to say Trey on it, so
there you go. Hey, tell me this, Brett. What you're new? What's the main thing that you've dealt with so far that has been the hardest thing that you didn't expect it was going to be?
going from a job that I was working hourly to where I have my own, I set my own time, but we've been dealt like several things in our household where I've had to watch kids because my wife's job is like way up there. But I've been out there. It's the most difficult thing because I know I need to be out there, putting it in. And I've had to talk with Buddy about getting in and getting in early in the morning and getting out late at night. And I do it, but it's not consistent. And I know I've got it in me, and I know I'm good at the sales job too. So, but I'm learning every day, and these things like this are just really good. I enjoy getting on them every week and just picking up more knowledge and everything. So, but it's just tough. I'm getting the knack of it, and just trying to get my schedule down. So,
I love it. All right. Thanks for coming on, Brett. Hey, Marcy, are you out there? Can you hop on real quick? Because I actually got to ride with you, so I can pick on you a little bit.
Yeah, I can. I'm here.
All right. So Marcy, share with everybody else kind of like what's your thought process been so far from coming in to where you're at now to now you're probably 3 weeks into training. You kind of have an idea where your lane's going to be a little bit. How much different is it than what you expected it to be?
It's definitely different going from like a service industry to sales, but I mean, every week you learn something new. My thing is I just ask a lot of questions. If I don't know, I feel like no question is a stupid question. I just ask a lot of questions, and then watching different people's perspectives with training and stuff. What was your question again?
So just like you kind of answered it, but one thing that I would say that you do, and to talk on a little bit, guys, is like she's in the house with me this week and literally had a notebook out, and I looked over to my right and there wouldn't have had I wasn't going to have to ask this person a single question twice because she was already writing it down. But talk on that a little bit. Because guys, how many times do we write a carrier, it gets declined, and then all of a sudden you're having to write a different carrier, and now you got to ask the exact same questions you've already asked them 3 times. Talk on that, Marcy, on why you do that.
Yeah, so Trey kind of taught me that. So we would be in the house, and then say they would get declined on Mutual of Omaha because, you have to go through the whole process, and then they would get declined on the medical part, I guess. And so he'd be asking them what's your social again? And that's kind of tricky. You already have a hard time getting that out of people. And what's your address? What's your phone number? And they would, they'll get kind of annoyed. So he taught me to just take my notepad in there. And as you ask them the first time, just put it in your notes, literally everything, their primary, their phone number, their social, everything that you would have to ask on an application, just write it in your notes. That way you're not having to go back and ask them the same question twice, 3 times, 4 times. And then while you're filling out the application, you can small talk with them, so you're not having to re-say the same things 10 different times.
And
So
it makes it to where when you do the app, you're so quick because you already got all the answers.
yes.
I love that part of it. And two, guys, to add to this, if you can organize that and keep it structured, then you're actually, say that person charges back after 3 months and now you need to rewrite it. You already have all the information because guess
Right.
what? You ain't gonna be able to get on the website and get socials and bank info and all that stuff. Like you've already got everything you need. It used to be easy when we did paper apps because you'd keep them. But now it's all e-apps and we don't have access to all the information like we used to. So Marcy, I love that you're doing that. And I love that Trey's teaching you to do that because that's awesome. And I'm sure Dan Quavy's teaching folks that too. So Latoya, can you hop on real quick? Because I wanted to ask you a question. I can see that you're out there. I hope you're somewhere where you're able to talk.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Latoya. So Latoya's coming from another agency into what we do. Share the two, maybe one or two things that are different than where you came from that you didn't expect to be as much of a benefit in this. You get what I mean?
Well, I told Jeffrey, like, I learned more in 2 weeks with him than I did in 2 months that I've been with the company that I was with. It was really different. They don't really push leads at all. It was kind of like go in the grocery store and just talk to whoever, you know. That's literally what I was doing. So, you know, even with organizing and Jeffrey is kind of like, you know, very organized and hard and showing me everything and getting up and getting your day together. And so it feels more like I have a job career type versus like I'm out there and didn't know what I was doing, what was going to be coming the next day.
Yeah. You're just kind of out there trying to drum up business from every family member and friend that you know.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's not what we preach here, guys. Like we preach learning how to operate off of leads. And I'm not telling you can't write your family members and friends because they need insurance too, but you can't create a career off of that. And so Latoya's learning that. She's coming from Senior Life. No knock on Senior Life and no knock on any insurance agency. I love they're successful for a reason. They're killing it for a reason. We just kill it in a different way. And I feel like the people that are here and the people that are on board put up numbers that I would put up against any group in the nation. And so I'm not afraid to say that. And I hope that all you guys learned some stuff today from all these folks. But we'll go ahead and kind of wrap it up on that. Guys, this is going to get released. So if you got any agents you feel like should watch this, share it with them. I'm going to put it on the YouTube channel here before I leave this afternoon. I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day and a blessed weekend. And you guys just holler at me if you need anything. Okay. Bye now.